explain, we have a society wherein the vast wealth of this country is concentrated in few hands, and the vast majority of the population of the country lives in abject poverty, finding it difficult to meet two ends. On a social plane, we have a society which is divided into 4 compartments, and the compartments such that they are so tight that it's not permissible to travel from one compartment to another. And therefore he said that unless we eradicate these inequalities, the edifice of democracy, which we have so laboriously built, collapse like an house of cards. And therefore, we find that in the last 75 years, the country has made quite a few progress, quite a good progress. Dr. Ambedkar had inserted part 4 in the Constitution, that is directive principles, in order to fulfill the promise of social and economic justice in the country. As all of us know that the initial view of the Supreme Court was that the directive principles are subservient to the fundamental rights. And if there is a conflict between the directive principles and the fundamental rights, the directive principles will have to give way to the fundamental rights. But however, though Keshwanath Bharati is famous for the basic structure of doctrine, on a basic structure doctrine, there is a divide of 6 to 6 on one side. The first 6 say that the Parliament has unbridled power to amend the Constitution, whereas the other 6 say that there are inherent limitations on the power of the Parliament to amend the Constitution. It's only the view of the 13th judge, that is Justice H.R. Khanna, which is now a majority view. He said that though the Parliament has ample power to amend the Constitution, however, it cannot amend the Constitution which will affect the basic structure. And therefore, though we have a sharp divide on the amending parts of the Constitution, insofar as the importance of directive principles is concerned, the Supreme Court unanimously, for the first time, held that the directive principles and the fundamental rights are equal. Neither of them is subservient. The directive principles and the fundamental rights together are the conscience of the India. They run parallel to each other at times, intervene, but they together take the constitutional goal forward. And then, taking into consideration the directive principles and the fundamental rights, various laws have been enacted. They be land reform laws, they be the selling lands laws, they be the tenancy laws, wherein the land is tilled by the tillers, the tenants, where the ownership was given to the tillers from the landlords. The Land Selling Acts, wherein the vast stretch of land from the zamindars were taken over and given to the landless persons. We have various labor laws for the protection of the labor. In the case of Vijay Cotton Mill, the question was whether an employee can get a labor for 10 rupees, can he be compelled to pay 20 rupees? The Supreme Court, it was argued that it was against a fundamental right of an employer to get an employee if he is available at that rate. The Supreme Court said that the promise given in Article 43 is not an empty promise. The Article 43 provides for living wages, and therefore if a law is enacted for providing minimum wages, which will be a living wages, it may also infringe infringe upon the fundamental right of employment. So on the journey has been positive. There are various enactments on a social plane. We have found that various provisions have been made for reservation or upliftments of have-nots so that they can join in the mainstream. And therefore our constitution in the last 75 years has provided a tool to us, a machinery to us to march towards the social and economic justice along with the political justice. No doubt that much is required to be done, and when I stand before the next generation of lawyers, the duty is upon you. You are the forebearers, the torchbearers of the further constitutional journey. It is on your shoulders to see to it that the promise enshrined in the Constitution is fulfilled. A march towards that direction is made in the right earnest, and it is the conferences like this, the conference organized by the Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa, either for providing basic legal education or the continuous legal education, which will help you in traveling towards that direction. I am sure that all of you will take a pledge to see to it that the promises enshrined in the Constitution are fulfilled, and you will act in that direction. With that promise, with that hope, I thank all of you. I thank the Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa for giving me an opportunity to be with you this morning. Thank you very much.
We have come to an end to this formal function. Only the vote of thanks